Oh boy, what it do, cuckolds? It's your boy the Hater up in this piece, and we gotta do it even if we don't want to do it. It's Raw Review, and this was, in my opinion, probably the worst episode of Raw of all time. Now let's get to it segment by segment, as we tend to do here on the Hater channel. And going from there, we'll start with the first segment. Gunther comes out to open up the show, dressed in a suit, so you know he ain't wrestling, right? As he starts talking about nonsense and cutting a boring Gunther promo, he gets interrupted by Damian Priest. Damian Priest comes out, and he starts throwing some truths towards Gunther. Basically, he says Gunther is afraid of him, and if it weren't for Finn Balor, Damian Priest would still be the champion. Now, this is a fact of life. You know what I mean? Gunther can deny it all he wants, but this is just how it is, right? There's no way around it. It's the fact, it's the truth. And instead of fighting back and saying that's not true, Gunther just pretty much accepts it, right? Gunther is now a pussy. This segment made him feel like a pussy. It made him look like a pussy. And more importantly, it really highlighted how horrible of a title run this has been. It might even be worse than Cucky's, right? Think about it. Gunther this year meaning after WrestleMania, won the King of the Ring. Then he won the world title against Damian Priest, and then he lost to Cookie Rhodes. That's all he's done this entire year. He's like 2-1, you know what I mean? Like, he's done nothing special. And he barely beat Damian Priest with cheating. Randy Orton, he beat him clean once, and the other time Randy Orton's shoulders were like 1 foot off the ground. So Gunther's title reign has been a complete disaster. And it makes sense, kayfabe-wise, for Gunther to doubt himself because, quite frankly, Damian Priest was right. The vibe is done. It's over. Gunther is not a good world champion. And basically, at that point, Ludwig Kaiser comes out cutting a fire promo. I mean, not really, but like a better promo than Damian Priest and Gunther would cut, right? He comes out and basically he says, how dare you talk about Gunther this way? Which makes the viewer probably think, why is this guy even employed? His entire purpose, basically, is just to be Gunther's lackey. Like, this guy has no goals or aspirations. His goal is just to be there and do what Gunther says. Imagine if that were you in real life. You know what I mean? Imagine if this were a real person. You'd be like, oh my God, this guy has like zero self-esteem. But anyways, he comes out and Gunther tells him to shut up, basically, because Gunther is afraid of Damian Priest. Damian punches Ludwig Kaiser in the face, and Gunther doesn't attack Damian back because he's scared. That's the whole point. Gunther now feels like a complete coward, and nobody cares at all anymore. So let's move on to the next segment. We have R-Truth in the back. He's talking to Kofi Kingston. Xavier Woods is eavesdropping. And this is basically just another segment in the Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods not getting along storyline. Butch comes out and has like words with R-Truth. This leads to Butch versus Cucky Kingston in a match nobody cared. Next up, Damage Control is back because Dakota Kai has returned after a 3-month hiatus. Give it 2 more weeks and Dakota Kai will be gone for another 9 months. Nobody will notice, nobody will care. Damage Control versus the Pure Jobber Collective, which I think at this point, the Pure Fusion Collective, or as we call it in this channel, the Pure Jobber Collective, I think it's safe to say now, this is the worst faction of all time. Like, there is not a faction that is worse than this one. There just isn't. I don't think they've won 1 match. You know, they come out there, they have one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. Like, Dakota Kai needs to be released. There's a part in the match where she's going to pull the middle rope, so Shayna Baszler just, like, falls out of the ring. And she's, like, holding on to the middle rope before Shayna even starts running. And you can see what's going to happen before it happens. And exactly what you think would happen, happens. In the end, Io Sky hits the over the moonsault, which is just a regular ass moonsault, and they win. Nobody cared. Nobody noticed. All right? Then we have a segment between the Usos and Sami. Apparently, it's going to be a 5-on-5 War Games, so they need a 5th guy. Sami Zayn says he has a 5th guy in mind. And maybe his plan is to get El Gran Hijo de Puta to be their 5th guy. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody cares anymore about the storyline. More on that a little bit later. So basically, after all this bullshit, we finally get Kofi Kingston versus Bitch. Kofi Kingston and Bitch have a match, and basically, Xavier Woods comes, interferes. He attacks Pete Dunne, right? Pete Dunne goes back in the ring, no-sells the finisher that he took and the clothesline from Woods. Basically, Kofi Kingston is distracted by Woods for like 1 second. Pete Dunne hits him, does the bitter end, and pins him 1, 2, 3. And the Kofi Kingston Xavier Woods saga continues to go the way it's been going, right? Then we have another small segment. It's Sami Zayn talking to Seth Rollins. Sami Zayn says, please, Seth, be on our team. Seth Rollins says, absolutely not. I spent like all year last year trying to like end Roman Reigns' tyrant status, right? And, you know, he's not going to help him out now, right? Which is consistent with what he's been doing this whole time. However, it's inconsistent with anything that matters because nobody cares about Seth Rollins anymore. So we have that, and that's fine. At some point in the night, we also have a Bronson Reed promo. He starts cutting a promo, Seth Rollins attacks him, that's it. It's the same thing you've seen for the last 8 weeks. Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed brawl and 100 security guards come out and nothing happens. A complete waste of time, a complete waste of anything, right? And also, who the hell decided that Bronson Reed gets a mic to cut a promo? Is this how wrestling works? You attack people indiscriminately and beat up security guards and that's when you get your opportunity? You know, when Bronson Reed was out there getting pinned by like Sheamus every couple of weeks, you know what I mean? Getting pinned by the likes of like fucking Tony D'Angelo and like that level of wrestler. When he was out there getting his ass whooped, he didn't get one opportunity to cut a promo. All of a sudden, he attacks Seth Rollins, loses a few matches, right? And then he gets a promo? Like, think about it. You know, I have been enjoying, or I should say I enjoyed the Bronson Reed push in the beginning. But at this point, it's like this guy, all he's done is he's attacked The Miz, he's attacked R-Truth, he's attacked Seth Rollins, and then he's lost to Seth Rollins, and he's lost to Braun Strowman. So why the hell do I care? Like, this guy's not a threat to win the Rumble, so why the fuck do I give a shit about him? You know what I mean? His push has been a complete disaster. Now, we continue on with the show. Then we get a commercial break. Eventually, we get Damian Priest versus Ludwig Kaiser. Damian Priest squashes Ludwig Kaiser, hits the South of Heaven, and pins his monkey ass. Gunther comes out to look. That's it. Nobody cares. He's wearing the same suit, so ain't no wrestling happening today, cuckolds. Next up, we have a segment. The Miz is walking backstage. He gets interrupted by Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross and AOP basically tell him, we told you we're going to break your legs, so now we're going to do that. They drag him to the ring. The Miz pretends he's a face, and he's like, I'm a better man now. They let me go because I apologize, which is really, really stupid. It really makes Uncle Howdy look dumb, right? Then they go there to destroy The Miz in the ring, and the Wyatt Six come out, right? The Wyatt Six come out looking like idiots, and basically The Miz runs to the outside, gets a chair, hits Eric Rowan. Then the AOP and Karrion Kross proceed to destroy everybody, right? They destroy the Wyatt Six completely. Meanwhile, Nikki Cross, who's supposed to be like, you know, a powerful character now, just gets her ass beat by Scarlett Bordeaux. She's like, without any kind of interference. Scarlett just throws her out of the ring like a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So that was really bad. AOP hits the Super Collider, which is always cool. And then basically what happens is Karrion Kross does his little low-level F5 thing. The Miz does like a version of the skull-crushing finale on Rowan. And basically The Miz was in it all along. He was in cahoots with them, right? During this segment, the fans start chanting, Miz, you suck. And it's like, wait a second. Hold on a minute. Miz and AOP and Karrion Kross, even though AOP and Karrion Kross are complete jobbers, right? They were doing nothing. They were minding their own business. You know what I mean? The Wyatt family attacked them for no reason. They attacked Paul Ellering, and then they kidnapped The Miz. So somehow, despite all this, Miz and the AOP and Final Testament are still the bad guys. I don't understand the logic. It's like Uncle Howdy kidnapped The Miz, you morons. You know? And it was good to see the Wyatt Six get destroyed. Obviously, they're going to win the feud, but who cares? The only thing worthy of mentioning here is that The Miz is surrounded by about 9 jobbers. This was unacceptable. You know what I mean? It's like The Miz is a former WWE champion, and he's being surrounded by like I'm pretty sure that aside from Eric Rowan winning the tag team titles like once and Nikki Cross being a women's champion, I'm pretty sure nobody there has won anything in their entire careers. And NXT doesn't count. Oh, Bo Dallas is an NXT champion. None of these guys, literally none of these guys, have won anything in their entire careers. I think Bo Dallas is a one-time tag team champion with Curtis Axel. And I think, what's his face? Eric Rowan is like a 1 or 2-time tag team champion. Everybody else is an abject failure. These are arguably the 9 worst wrestlers in the company. And The Miz. Like, these are like the lowest, like, when WWE 2K25 comes out, these people will probably have the lowest rating. I mean, Noam Dar will be there with a low rating as well, but you catch my drift, right? Then we have a ridiculous tale of the tape between Rollins and Reed, because that match is happening, I think, next week. Now, this is ridiculous. On the Rollins side, they show their heights and weights, and they show statistics. And it's like Rollins, 5-time world champion, Royal Rumble winner, like main event at WrestleMania, did this, won that, you know, Money in the Bank winner, right? And then on the Bronson Reed stuff, they're like, he has a 59-inch neck. Like this is how shit Bronson Reed is. He's accomplished nothing in his career, and he's going up against a five-time world champion, and the only thing you can say about him is he's got a big neck. I mean, this is just absurd at this point. Who cares if he has a big neck? Seth Rollins already pinned him, you know what I mean? So with a stomp, so that neck made no difference whatsoever. Anyways, I thought that was really stupid and really funny. Then we have the women's tag team titles match. Nothing to write home about here. Bianca and Jade retain when Bianca hits the KOD on Liv. Then a brawl breaks out involving Nia Jax. Io Sky, who's the number one contender, comes and basically like saves the day. And all of a sudden, Io Sky and Bianca and Jade are friends again because she helped them. I don't really know why. Like 2 weeks ago, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill were like looking down on Io Sky when Io Sky was yelling at them in Japanese. And all of a sudden now they're friends. Joe Tessitore said so, so it must be true. Anyways, this episode of Raw was complete garbage. Nobody could have possibly enjoyed this whatsoever. It was not entertaining. It was not fun. Nobody alive could have possibly seen this and thought to themselves, wow, what a great episode of Raw this was. The wrestling was mid. The matches were garbage. They keep insisting on putting people like the Pure Jobber Collective on TV. Pete Dunne miraculously still has a job. You know what I mean? Gunther came out and he had to eat crow. He talked all this shit about like winning the Crown Stool title. And now he's like, I'm still the World Heavyweight Champion. Nobody cares at all. You lost to the real champion. So that title is meaningless now, right? It is now completely the inferior title. I mean, it always was and it always would be, even if he beat Cody Rhodes. But now it really is inferior. Now it's like lower than the Intercontinental Champion. Like, if you really think about it, who is more over in this company? Let's take, for example, LA Knight, Braun Breaker, and Gunther. Both LA Knight and Braun Breaker are far more over. You know what I mean? Nobody cares about Gunther. The allure is gone, and there never was one, in my opinion. But now I think everyone's starting to see it because this guy is boring as fuck. You know, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if like people say he's good in the ring or not. And there was another part here that I want to mention. In the promo that Damian Priest cut, right? He made a point about this. He's like, you know, I had to scratch and claw my way to this company while you were just waiting for a phone call. What are you talking about? Gunther also clawed and scratched his way. You're both jobbers. You know what I'm saying? You're both people that aren't good enough. So you both had to like find your way to the WWE. Nobody there was promised a shot at the WWE. Gunther had to bust his ass in Europe, just like Damian Priest had to bust his ass in America. You know? So that being said, nobody cares at all. I can't wait for this pay-per-view to be over. And I have another point I want to make about the other match, but that's another time, cuckold. Take care of yourselves. It's been this bitch.